What if you could find brand new worlds right here on Earth, where anything is possible? Same planet, different dimension. I found the gateway.
The Rewatch podcast presents the Sliders Rewatch, dedicated to the series Sliders on Fox and Sci-Fi Channel. Join us each week as we continue crossing the Einstein-Rosen-Podolsky Bridge and find ourselves in strange new worlds. Email your thoughts on each episode to the rewatchpodcast@gmail.com. Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/rewatchpodcast or on Twitter @rewatchpod.
And welcome back to the Rewatch Podcast and our Sliders Rewatch. I'm Cory.
And I'm Pizza Man with your extra sausage.
Come on in, Pizza Man.
Just what you ordered. Extra toppings.
Nice, Paul. I like it. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. We are here, of course, discussing 2 more episodes of Sliders. This week it is Just Say Yes and the Alternateville Horror.
Every time I hear the Just Say Yes, it makes me think of that show, Just Say Yes to the Dress.
I don't remember that show.
It's like from the Home Garden Network or something like that. I've never seen it, but I had a friend who always talked about it. She was really into it.
Random.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into it, I see you have a little by the way here.
Oh yeah, there was a neat thing that I saw on the Sliders.tv forums, which is kind of it's a neat idea that I hadn't thought of, because we talked about the character of Penny from the episode, was it Common Ground?
Yes, Common Ground.
Yeah. So we were wondering, like, boy, she wasn't really developed very much at all. You know, we saw her for a brief second in the hospital ward, and then she comes back later and saves them, and then she was just gone. And the idea was put forth by iReactions, I believe. It said that what if Penny is meant to represent Wade? And when you think about it that way, it makes a lot more sense, especially why Rembrandt would go to such trouble to save her, because he barely even knew her, you know, and not that they haven't saved barely, you know, people that they've barely known before. But in this case, if you think of her as Wade, it does make like a lot of sense, like with how he's feeling. Here are the Cro-Mags again with this girl who has shorter hair, you know, shorter like Wade was. And it makes sense that he would see Wade in Penny, and that's why he decided to do what he had to do.
It's an interesting concept. I like it. You know, the whole because Remy was with Wade when she was taken. We weren't privy to that, and of course, Quinn and Maggie didn't see that either. So, you know, it's Remy taking the brunt. You know, the responsibility almost of having lost her. So yeah, him dealing with that. Interesting concept, and well observed iReactions. All right, well, getting into our first episode discussion today. The episode is Just Say Yes, written by Richard Manning and directed by Jefferson Kibbe. This originally aired on July 13th of 1998.
Oh, easy.
Easy does it.
Easy does it. Easy as pie. Pie is good, and so am I.
She seems better than before.
Oh, I am better than ever. As a matter of fact, I feel like dancing. Anybody care to join me?
Maggie.
What is this? What did you give her? Tranquil, standard mood elevator. Why? She needed it. I'd say you do, too. Oh! Colin!
That's a little dark. Isn't that clever?
Hey, I don't understand your aggressive behavior. Testosterone imbalance?
Quinn, have you ever wondered why we have so many fingers?
Colin, listen to me.
You sound orange.
You have to... What?
He's hearing colors.
And seeing sounds and tasting aromas. It's fantastic, man. It's like I'm one with the universe.
Our sliders slide into a new world, landing inside a closet, exacerbating what appears to be an already tense situation between Quinn and Maggie, who have apparently been fighting more and more over the course of several slides. Their verbal fight results in a man, Damon, tranquilizing Maggie, explaining that he is a licensed facilitator and that her dosage is in need of adjustment. Immediately, Maggie begins acting high as a kite, dancing about and wandering off, to which Quinn reacts to Damon with anger, who proceeds to try and shoot Quinn to elevate his mood, but misses and hits Colin. Quinn rescues Maggie from nearly getting hit by a car. When she shows signs of the drug affecting her body adversely, Damon and Quinn take her to the local clinic, where Quinn overhears a plan to tranquilize him as well, but he takes off before they can take that action. As Quinn regroups with the guys, Colin, coming down from his high, seeks more facilitators and chases after them, asking them to give him more drugs, resulting in Remy and Quinn running off to hide while Colin is taken away with Maggie to a rehabilitation house where they begin their ideal happy life, brought to them by the wonders of happy-making drugs injected into their bodies by infusers attached to their arms. Meanwhile, Quinn and Remy search the local clinic's doctor's office and find out that in this world, Quinn's double is an anti-drug agitator, preaching to people about the wonders of not getting high. In this world, the Drug Empowerment Agency keeps everyone happy and under control by using enforced drug usage, even going so far as in this case, to using a controversial drug to change Damon from a happy-go-lucky facilitator into a raging, steroid-crazed killing machine. Quinn and Remy manage to overpower him and talk sense into him as he comes down from his own high, and he realizes how bad things have gotten and agrees to help them get their friends back. They manage to develop a ruse, overcoming the doctor and Agent Lowell, and obtaining troxaprine to get Colin and Maggie clean, but Lowell turns it around, holding them captive with his gun. He puts medicine back into his infuser to replace what Damon removed from it, but it turns out to be too strong a dose, and he passes out, eventually finding himself in the hospital. Damon decides to go clean after this experience, while Quinn questions the doctor's morals, and our group leaves the clinic and slides out.
Quinn, Remy, how marvelous to see you.
So good of you boys to drop by.
What is this?
Reorientation.
You're stone out of your skulls.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It is. Maggie, that stuff almost killed you.
Oh, please, that dosage was all wrong, but they fixed that now.
We appreciate your concern, but we're fine. We feel good about ourselves.
Really good.
And that's why we've decided to stay.
You what?
We decided that we're not gonna slide with you.
Look, you're in no shape to make decisions.
Well, you're not gonna force us to leave, are you?
No. No, of course not.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Good. Well, then why don't you sit down?
Sit down.
Make yourselves comfortable. Okay? That's it. Now Maggie's gonna make you some hot cocoa.
Ooh, I'll help you, dear.
Goody.
Alrighty, so we don't really have any trivia on this episode.
Right, we've got a couple things that our reactions sent in, and I put those into the discussion area. They kind of fit better there, so we could talk about them a little bit more rather than just deleted scenes or changed concepts and things like that. So we'll get to some of those in the discussion area, I think.
Awesome. Well, do we have time for a quick impression? I think we do.
I think we do. I think yes. The forum, I'm sure agrees with us.
All right. Well, let's go for it then. All right.
All right.
Okay. Cue the music.
Sean Connery and Christopher Walken sit in a living room. Christopher sets down a plate of burnt cookies. Sean Connery picks one up and looks at it skeptically before taking a bite. Delicious.
You don't like them.
Oh, no, of course I like them.
Sean, you be honest with me.
But you work so hard on them. I wouldn't want to hurt your feelings.
I don't think you could. Not while I'm wearing this thing.
Christopher points to a drug dispenser strapped to his arm. I forgot. Another benefit of pharmaceutical therapy. Well, in that case, these are the worst cookies I've ever tasted. And scene.
Random.
All right, it's troxaprine, all right. Let's go.
Visitors.
Hi, everybody. What's that, Damon?
A little medical adjustment.
Oh, yeah.
Goody, we could sure use one, huh, honey?
What are you doing, Damon? Stop that. You don't know what it's going to do to them, Damon. I order you to stop this. Damon, No. No. No! Now, there is going to be a major DEA investigation into all of this, I promise you. And the four of you are going to go into max reorientation. All right. Now, put that down right there. Put it down. Put the box down. Open it up. Open it up. And the good doctor is going to lose her license. And you had so much promise. You just disappointed me.
No, that's Extaside. It's much too strong for you.
Why did you disappoint me, Damon? Oh, this is so amazing.
All right, well, getting into our discussion of Just Say Yes.
To the dress. I can't help it. It just comes right out.
Okay, so the sliders slide into a closet.
Yes, this was cool. I thought it was a neat idea. Because we've talked about it before.
Yeah, it's always like out in the street or something like that. So why not in a closet? Also, very handy. They're in the Chandler, so they don't even have to really go too far. Or
yes, and that's going to actually come up in the next episode. We're going to talk about that.
So they can just check in. But I think it was in last week's episode, you were talking about something on the forums. They were talking about not being able to open the vortex in solid objects.
Right. Someone had mentioned it on there. And I couldn't remember when they had talked about it, but now we know.
Yeah, so it must have been for this one, because Quinn drops the line of the densitrometry circuit, or densometry circuit, which means the vortex will never open inside solid objects.
Right.
Which is very handy to know.
Yes.
Yeah, something we didn't know about the timer and the vortex.
Exactly, because they could easily have materialized inside of a wall, but yeah, because of that chip, it's all good, or that circuit, it's all good.
Yeah, so everyone's on edge as well. Everyone's just fighting and stuff like that, which is convenient because they're on this health nut pharmacological drug world.
Right.
Which is an interesting idea. The name of the episode being Just Say Yes is, of course, a subversion of Just Say No, that old slogan about drugs, just say no. So in a world where everybody is super reliant on drugs to regulate their mood, I think it's a cool idea.
I will say that this episode, all right, it's definitely not one of my favorites. It's pretty divided on a lot of things that I've read. I don't know, something about the way it was presented to me just really fell flat. All right, and we'll get into some of the stuff a little bit later. But yeah, it's not my favorite story. However, this story has been done before by Sliders in the Sliders comic book. It was there was a Sliders comic book out. It didn't have a lot of issues. I think maybe a total of 10 overall. And it wasn't like they were numbered sequentially or anything like that. They were just like Sliders, like special one-offs that would come off, or sometimes there would be like two in a row, that with a story divided between them. This one was actually a Sliders special called Narcotica, and the story was written by Jerry O'Connell. He actually wrote the story for this.
Interesting.
And yeah, so they got him to write the story, and there's actually an article in the back. I actually have it right here. You can hear the pages. I have this Sliders comic. In the back, there's an interview with Jerry talking about, how he came up with the idea, how he was approached for it, and, what he was going for with the whole story. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat story. The problem, though, which I noticed when I first read this story, it's 41 pages, and the first 10 pages are drawn by a guy named Jackson Juice. And it looks pretty good. The characters look pretty good likenesses, realistic looking. The professor is a little skinny, I will say. He's not exactly. This took place during this came out I think in '96. Yeah, this came out in 96, so the professor was still around. So it was the original 4 that we had. And it was pretty neat. I'm reading it and getting into it. You know, nice story. There's some alternate history in here. And then for some reason, I guess Jackson Juice had to leave, and they got another guy named Dennis Calero to do the final 30-some pages of the story. And it's so weird because since it's a different artist, the style changes completely. And things just look strange. I mean, maybe that's good for a story about a drug-infused world, but like some of the likenesses are really quite bad, and his art style is less realistic than the first guy, Jackson Juice. I mean, there's scenes where Wade looks like she has like a super long neck, just a major long neck. But aside from that, the story was much darker than what we got in this episode. Like, it's really dark. Everyone's drugged up on various drugs. To be controlled by the government. Wade Wells is her alternate, is the head of the FDA who pushes these drugs out to control people. There's a scene where Remy is tortured and forced into drug usage, not like it was in the episode, but like he's strapped down and like just, you know, forcibly injected with needles and drugs after drugs after drugs to get him under control. It's really intense, you know, and very, very much darker than the episode. And I like it. The only thing that I don't like about it is the art that changed in the middle. It's just very, very strange. But it's a good story. And you can see, like, when you read it, you can see where they get the ideas for this. Just Say Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never actually read any of the Sliders comic books.
They're not the greatest things in the world, but when Sliders was out and I was so hot into it, it's definitely something that was like, oh, here's more Sliders stuff. You know, they didn't have a lot. They had a Sliders novel, which was just a novel of the first the pilot episode, and that was it. They never came out with another one. There was a behind the scenes book, and I'm not sure really what else. I do have some news articles I found as well about Sliders in the I had them in the comic book bags with these comics, and I'm going to mention a couple of those a little bit later.
And I'd be interested to hear if any of them are available on like digital download or anything like that, if anybody out there knows.
Well, I think iReactions did mention it, and because he's the one who mentioned that it was inspired by the comic book Narcotica, and he said he couldn't find a digital copy of it. Doesn't mean it's not out there, just he wasn't able to find it. You know, maybe it's somewhere else. You know, maybe you have to look off the beaten path for it. You know, you might be able to go into the dark edges of the internet and find it, maybe.
Honestly, I've never been much of an EU kind of person.
Right.
Like, you know, there's TV shows that I like, there's movies that I like, but I don't actively seek out books or comics or anything like that. I have a few fringe comics, like the makers of the TV show Fringe did a series of digital comics in conjunction with DC, and that was easy to get because they were digital downloads, you know. But yeah, you know, if anybody out there knows of any digital referencing, let us know. It'd be good to know.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Yeah, like I said, they're okay. They're not bad, but if you're like a real big fan of Sliders, you want more, you know, this is like, these are official. I mean, they're not continuity, obviously, but they're definitely officially released comics.
Yeah, cool. Well, you know, getting into what actually does happen in this episode. Mm-hmm. So everyone's on edge, and you know, they're down in the bar of the Chandler, and Quinn and Maggie are really going at it. And this licensed facilitator shows up, Damon, and he sees what's going on, and he just tranks them. I mean, he calls it tranquil. So he just hits them with these darts, and it turns out that, like, everybody on this world has, like, drugs that regulate mood and things like that. Right. Keeps everyone happy. As we get into the episode, too, we find out, like, the doctor's office isn't even locked up. Like, there aren't even locks on the door.
Exactly.
They don't have to worry about crime because everybody's kept in line, you know? They're kept happy. They don't need to steal or whatever.
Now, see, my problem with this is, like, how does this world function then? Because, like, if everyone's drugged up, now, obviously, the people are maybe not totally drugged up, but, like, the cabbie that they go to see, this is, like, the prime example. And this has to happen more often in this world than not. Like, this cabbie is like, hey, man, you're, you know, hurting on my high or whatever. You know, it's like, I'm feeling good. I don't care about here. I'll give you money. I don't care about the cash. I just want to relax, enjoy this high. It's like he doesn't care about doing his job. All he wants to do is get high. So, you know, presumably there's probably many, many other jobs where people would like, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to adjust my dose. And you know what I mean? Like, I wonder how the world actually functions if things are like that.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if this is like government subsidized or something like that.
Right.
Like, does the government just give out drugs to anybody who wants them? Because, you know, in the real world, being a drug addict is not a good thing. And for the most part, these people can turn to crime or prostitution, whatever, to get their fix, you know?
Yeah.
It's what happens. It's sad, but that's what happens in the real world. So, yeah, are these people just getting all... I mean, Damon, the facilitator, is just shooting people with Tranquil all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, and later, Colin wants more. So he just runs out and he's just like, hey, shoot me again. And they do. This must be costing the government a lot of money to make sure everybody is on drugs. Because we do, of course, find out as well that it is illegal to not be on drugs.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know, it seems like a legal gray area when it comes to not being on drugs.
In the original story, you know, from the comic book, they basically, drugs were legalized. The part of the alternate history was back in the 60s. They couldn't stop narcotics coming into the country, so J. Edgar Hoover just made them legal and basically, I guess, would taxed them, and it was a way for them to get out of their national debt. If they were able to sell them and stuff like that, they could just put a big tax on them, and then boom, we're out of debt. So, you know, part of it was that, you know, in the comic book or story. I don't know if that's what they were intending to do with this or not, but yeah, how do they get the drugs? How do they pay for them?
Yeah, and the whole thing of making it seem like everybody was having such a good time being on drugs. Maggie was like way over the top. That cab driver too. I mean, they seem like they were like weed smokers or something like that. Everyone knows that like weed's not really like a really bad drug or anything. It's just going to make you feel really good and probably eat a lot. Yeah. But these people are like on drugs, you know.
Well, both her, Maggie and Colin, both of them acted like really like over the top. So I'm wondering if they were told to act that way on purpose, like, and it wasn't just their own choice, because gosh, she was really just like over the top. And later on, when they're in the rehabilitation home, when she laughs, it was like the nanny laugh. Did you notice that? She's like, about the cookies, she's like, it was like, oh my God, this is so bad. Yeah, it was so bad. I was just like, man, this is, you know, just when we're saying she's getting so good, you know, at acting, and then we have this episode. I want to believe that they just told them to act this happy, like really over the top, you know, like do a major, like really sell it, because they really tried to sell it, and it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I can agree. It's a little cheesy.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, they do tell us quite a lot about, you know, all this drug stuff, you know. They've got these dispensers on their arms. Later, there's the doctor lady, and she's talking about, like, I guess it's like Valium in a way, like just hooking Valium straight into your vein. But there's, like, different levels of it. She comes up with all kinds of different crazy names for these drugs, which I doubt actually exist, you know. Euphorium and stuff like that. You're like, okay, yeah, it's a little on the nose there. Yeah, you know, so Maggie's take it away. Because there's the whole thing about how, you know, pretty much you should be on drugs. You really should. And the DEA get involved. And here on this world, the DEA stands for Drug Empowerment Administration.
Right.
Which I thought was actually kind of funny.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
It's the subversion of, you know, what the DEA actually does, which is stop the drugs.
Drug Enforcement Agency, or something like that. Yeah.
So I like that. Remy and Quinn have to go into the doctor's office to like try and find out what the hell's going on. Like, where did they take Colin and Maggie? And they find this video of an alt Quinn who is a hippie.
Yes.
Who preaches non-drug use.
Right. So it's the opposite, you know, of our world. So hippies are not on drugs. They don't want to be, you know, drug users. But my thing was, how come alt Quinn? Why is hippie Quinn talking like a drugged up person, though, because he's talking like a drugged up hippie. He's like, hey, man, you don't need to do drugs. It's okay to be not high. Like, you'd think he would be, talking more like articulate, like the dangers of drugs are awful and you should not be using them. It just seemed like it was a little weird to me.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing all that stuff about, tune in, drop out.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I get what they were going for there. I understand it, but it's like, it was just kind of strange because that's how the people on the drugs might, that's how Maggie and Colin were kind of talking.
Yeah, maybe it's like a weed thing or something like that. Even in a world where like drugs are pushed on you, marijuana still fits into like a drug gray area as well.
Perhaps, yeah. Yep. Perhaps.
Yeah, it is. It's funny though. I'm laughing. I think this episode and the next episode too, I think are very tongue in cheek with what they're doing. They're not as serious as some of the other episodes, and I think in these later episodes, I don't think any of them are like uber serious, really, with the exception of like maybe a few that we've talked about. Like Common Ground, I think was actually pretty well grounded.
The attempt, from what I understand, is to try to get back to the type of comedy that was in the first couple seasons, the first 2 seasons, where it was, they call it a black comedy, and it's like, I guess that's what they're trying to do. I'm not sure that it's, looking back at the first couple seasons, I don't think it was as cheesy as this one seems to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. The cheese factor has been pushed up in this and the next episode.
I mean, it is better than what we had in the third season, especially the second half of the third season. It's definitely better than that, and I think they're going in the right direction. But it's still a little bit much for me.
Yeah, but the other thing I have noticed though is that they are pushing alt history again. Really.
Yeah, well, that's good. Love that.
Yeah, it's none of this creature of the week stuff that we were getting in season 3. No underground worms or whatever here.
Yep.
It's old history, so that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, like we said, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Speaking of steps in the right direction, they take some steps, Remy and Quinn. Look at that segue. Over to Elm Avenue, 1402 Elm Avenue, or Elm Street.
Yeah, Remy says Elm Street, and then they immediately cut to an Elm Avenue side.
Okay.
Weird. And they say 1402. So, I'm a big horror fan.
Right.
And I love my icon slashes as well. So Nightmare on Elm Street. Not 1402, but close. 1428 Elm was the house in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right. So just down the street,
Yeah, which I don't know why they would try to reference Nightmare on Elm Street. Really? Right. I guess may have something to trying to connect dream states or something. I don't know.
They should have just made it 1428. That would have been perfect.
Yeah. Just it was weird to reference something like that, because when they get there, it's actually more Stepford Wives than it is Nightmare on Elm Street, because Maggie and Colin have gone completely Stepford over there, and for some reason these drugs have made them into this weird 50s couple in a way.
It's Quinn references Leave It to Beaver, which is perfect because the person who did the music really, like, the underscoring that they do as they walk near that street. It's like it is Leave It to Beaver. It's like the theme song from Leave It to Beaver, but like switched around a little bit. Like they changed the notes, just slightly, but it does really recall the theme song from Leave It to Beaver, the way they had the music in there. I was like, that's perfect. The music was very comical, even throughout the other parts of the episode. It was very, like, it pulled on the funny bone, the way they scored it.
Yeah.
But it definitely fit the Leave It to Beaver style of where they were.
Yeah, they got to get around those copyright infringements though, just like the Radio Shed.
Exactly.
During last week's discussion. Yeah, so Colin actually gives us a bit of the old history here as well, because he's been reading up on what happened, and he says that in this world, Sigmund Freud was doing his thing that we know Sigmund Freud for.
Right.
But at some point in his career, he discovered lithium.
Right.
And he dropped his research and became the father of modern medicine. So, yeah, like I said, it's cool that they're at least dropping old history. And getting back to that, that's awesome. So Quinn and Remy make plans to get all the drugs out of Maggie and Colin's system. Thankfully, while he was in the room with the doctor, with Maggie, she mentioned troxaprine, a drug that gets all drugs out of your system. You know, they wanted to sort of give Maggie a clean slate so they could get her back on a proper prescription. So they know that there's this troxaprine drug, and they can go and get some of that and clean these guys up before they have to slide. So good plan, but on the other side, Colin and Maggie are trying to get them on drugs. Yes. Because they're so into it. Yeah, it is. It's still going on with that cheesy thing. I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I do like the idea of going to a drug dealer. Like when there's a drug that nobody wants, in this case being troxaprine, they have to find out like a skeezy drug dealer.
Yes.
To get it off the street. But he turns out to be an undercover agent. And, man, he keeps them on the ropes for, like, ever.
Yeah, he's doing his job. He's doing what he has to do, you know?
Because, yeah, they cut to the DEA guy. His name is Special Agent Fletcher Lowell.
Yes.
What a name. Yeah, and he's, like, talking to the doctor, Helena Malone. So everyone's got these names right out of a, 40s serial.
So I couldn't even remember her name. I didn't remember they referenced it or what. I was like, I have no idea. It's the doctor.
Yeah, so they start talking about like, oh, we found them. They're talking to one of our undercover agents or something like that. Let's get all kitted up. So they've got time to like talk about what they're going to do, like where the guys are, get all their kit together, go over there to get them. And this whole time the drug dealer's been talking to them.
Right, because they're asking about price and he just goes off about how his stuff is the best and on. And I think Remy, he was definitely catching on. Like you could see he was like looking at him weird. So it was referenced a little bit by the characters. So it was good. It was good.
Not saying I regularly buy drugs or anything, but if I was going to buy drugs from a drug dealer, I'd want to do it as quick as possible.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'd be in and out. Like, here's your money, give me my drugs.
Exactly.
It just went on.
Helpful tip for y'all out there buying drugs. Get in, get out, get high. That's what we're here for. You're welcome.
Exactly.
This
another message brought to
you.
And we start seeing like some hesitation from Helena. She's struggling with it. She doesn't know what to do. She's taking more drugs. Those drugs aren't working. So she has to like take stronger drugs.
Yeah, she keeps upping it.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. You know, it was just like a hysterical woman, just like, should I take a Valium? Oh, maybe I'll take 3. Because what they're going to do is they're going to give Damon a drug called Decimite. I think this was also like a legal gray area as well. I kind of got the impression that maybe it was illegal, but it takes paperwork and stuff for them to actually use it. Like, Helena gets Lowell to sign a piece of paper to say that he has authorized the use of it. And pretty much what it does is turns Damon into the Terminator.
Yes. Which actually a lot of people referenced back in when this episode aired in the Messages in Time. A lot of people referenced the Terminator for this.
And he's just wailing on Remy and Quinn, just coming after them.
What I thought was weird was like it gives him like this super strength, like he gets really strong, but like his body should like, does it strengthen his body too? Because he had a pretty good fall and he's been attacked pretty hard. And after that fall, he's still like his back isn't broken or hurt. Like he's definitely hurting, but it's like I would think he'd be really hurt after that fight that they had and that big fall that he had. So I'm like, does that Decimite give him an extra tough body as well? Because I don't think it does. I think it just gives him like makes you feel like you're super strong and can do all this stuff. But he's still a human body.
They kind of do the same thing in Terminator, but you know, in Terminator, he is a robot.
Right, exactly.
So whatever, you know, but there's a whole scene in Terminator where Sarah Connor's just like, oh, but he punched through a window and stuff, and they're just like, oh, he was probably on PCP, probably like smashed up his hand when he did that. But yeah, he was a robot, so Damon's just a person here.
He comes down pretty quickly too once they restrain him. He's like down. He's like, I can't believe what they did to me. Okay, let me help you. Like,
yeah, and he cleans up in like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
because they've got him tied up, and they're just like, what if he's still jacked up from that stuff when he comes around? Oh, exactly. No, it's 5 minutes later. Nah, he's clean now.
Right.
So they come up with a plan to go to where Maggie and Colin are, and then Damon can call up Helena and Lowell and say that he's there, he's killed everybody. and they will show up with some troxaprine. So pretty good plan, really. I thought it was a good scene as well. You know, they test the troxaprine to make sure it's real, that they didn't just come there to kill Damon after what he's done. Very cool idea. And then, of course, you know, I thought the ending was a little bit weak, really, with Fletcher putting the drugs into his thing and then passing out.
I wondered, like, why? Like, because they took the drugs out of his infuser, and then he goes to put some in, but he puts in a different drug than he normally has. Why would he do that? Like, I mean, yeah, he's the drug enforcement agency or whatever, but still, like, why not just put in your usual dosage? Like, why did you need to have more? Maybe he wanted to get a quick high or something, but that's not the time to do it. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You've got your
people at gunpoint. Don't take more stronger drugs than you're used to.
It's like,
even Helena's like, don't do that. That's not your prescription. Don't use that. And he doesn't anyway.
Like her, you know, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because she was supposed to be drugged up. Like her acting there at the end, like, I don't know. She's like, no, don't do that. It's too strong for you. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I felt like, I know she didn't do this, but I could feel her just rolling her eyes in her head. Like, I just was not like, I don't know. I was not convinced by the acting in this episode. Just really bugged me. It bugged me a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Even continuing on with Maggie and Colin, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Cookies and
right,
you know, trying to get a new skill and stuff. And you're like, this is terrible.
Yeah, like the doctor, like I figured, you know, she was on the drugs, but she just, I don't know. It just she didn't sell it for me. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel your performance, doctor. Sorry. I just didn't. It was something about it. Now, the guy who played Lowell, I felt he was good. I liked him. And he was actually in an episode of Quantum Leap, one of my favorite episodes I remember. So, you know, I liked him. I liked his job. It was very well done.
I think if I had to pick one person I really liked in this episode, it was the taxi driver, actually.
He was good.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give them a taxi ride. He's, I'm too high, man.
Right, and then at the end, you know,
yeah.
he's like, hey, you guys need a ride. I'm ready.
I'm ready now.
Take no, we got our own. And then he's like, whoa, these new drugs.
Pretty funny. But yeah, it wasn't the best episode, but I kind of like the theme of it, you know, the subverting, making people take drugs and not being cool to not be on drugs and whatever.
Right.
I can see the message they were going for, but yeah, it did fall a little flat.
So yeah, if you're able to find a digital copy, or if you're able to, you know, go to your local comic book store, maybe they have it or they can order it. Definitely maybe check out the original idea for it. It's, like I said, a lot darker, a little more serious.
And now, another episode of That's Random with Remy.
So, can I get you folks anything?
I will have a draft.
I'll make it two.
I'm feeling original. Make mine the same.
This has been another episode of That's Random with Remy.
All right, so getting into our second episode today. The episode is The Alternateville Horror, written by Chris Black and directed by David Grossman. This originally aired July 20th of 1998.
This is the presidential suite.
The president stayed here?
Well, I can't be sure, but it did look like him.
Why were those people leaving?
People? In the lobby? Well, you see, the Chandler is a very unique vacation experience. Not everyone can handle so much pampering and relaxation.
All those people ran out into an acid rainstorm because the room service is just too good.
Anyway, we have all the major amenities. Rain slickers, embroidered with the distinctive Chandler logo. Decontamination shower stalls, emergency eye wash, and complimentary assortment of burn ointments. Well, if you need anything else at all, feel free to just call the front desk.
Thank you, and that is for you.
Thank you, sir.
That woman should seriously consider decaf.
Our sliders arrive on a world where a literal acid rainstorm begins, ushering them into the Hotel Chandler, where they obtain rooms, despite a large group of people running out, scared of what turns out to be a haunted hotel. Colin is the first to cross paths with the hotel's ghost, a young boy named Matthew who plays pranks on him turning off his TV. The other Sliders don't believe that Colin has actually seen what he says, but gradually Maggie and Remy both come to believe him after having their own paranormal experiences. Meanwhile, Quinn and the hotel owner, Holly, go off on a quest to discover the forever missing timer, and after regrouping with Remy and Maggie, are told the story of how Holly's son went missing one day in room 315, a room that contains a constantly open sliding vortex. With assistance from a local failed tech student staying in the hotel trying to research the vortex paranormal reports, they are able to temporarily see Matthew and Colin, whom Matthew slid over so that he would have a playmate in this nether region between dimensions. They are also able to view a double of Remy, who is actually a professor responsible for creating the vortex in this dimension, an exotic dancer double of Maggie, and a singer named Quinn Howling Man Mallory, all of whom got stuck in the vortex like Matthew. Using the tech students' devices, they are able to destroy the vortex and use each individual's quantum signatures to send each person back to where they came from, reuniting Matthew with his mother and the other trapped individuals home.
Hey, you get tired of all those infomercials?
You will not believe what I just saw.
Man, I told you that spray on hair doesn't work.
There was someone in our room.
What? What are you talking about?
Oh, a boy. Only he wasn't really there. He appeared. He grabbed the TV thingy and walked through a closed door like some kind of non-corporeal shade.
Are you saying you saw a ghost?
Colin, what were you watching on TV?
A program about this medical pioneer. He created a living creature by stitching together parts of corpses. Amazing. Though in the end, I gather it got a little out of hand.
Sounds like Frankenstein.
That's him.
Okay, Colin, you were really wiped. Maybe you just fell asleep in front of the TV.
You think I dreamed this?
Hey, man, you've been traveling a lot. You're tired. We better get him a drink and make it a stiff one.
Is that what all you people think of me? That I'm some backwards rube who's afraid of evil spirits? We may burn the occasional witch where I come from, but I'm a man of science. Same as you, brother. And I know what I saw.
Okay, so we actually have a bit of trivia here for this episode.
We do. So this episode, written by Chris Black. So he was actually a pretty big writer for TV. Before Sliders, I guess he did the TV show episodes for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Weird Science, Poltergeist, things like that. And he was big into the comedy side of things. Didn't really like the darker episodes of Sliders, so his episodes that he usually does are a little bit more comedy based. Even though I think iReaction said something about him being involved with Common Ground. I think he was the writer on that, possibly. So it was interesting as a change up to what he normally likes. And he worked hard. Chris Black worked hard with that writer we talked about last time, Mark Zickery. He worked hard with him to get Maggie to be a little bit more lighter, which is good because it does work out. Her character is definitely much better in season 4 than season 3. Yeah. So he's responsible for that. And apparently he had a big career after Sliders as well. He worked on Xena, Warrior Princess, Star Trek, Enterprise, Desperate Housewives, Ugly Betty. So he did pretty well for himself. So we do have some changed premises for this episode. Originally, Maggie was going to basically just extra lines here and there. Maggie made a comment about the beer, saying, "Boy, the oysters really make this beer good." Whoa, okay. I can't imagine that myself. There was the alt Quinn, throwing the timer to our Quinn and something like, "Here you go, mate. Cheers." A little extra line here. Matthew made a comment, the boy made a comment about how sometimes people can see him and sometimes they can't. Sometimes they seem to glance him out of the corner of their eye. So trying to explain how some people see him and some people don't, because Quinn couldn't see him. Basically, that's about it. There was some scenes that were reordered, just in order of where they appeared, but nothing that really changed the story at all. The biggest thing, which I'm glad they changed, was when Colin is watching the TV. He was not going to be watching Pizza Man. He was going to be watching a weather report about what was going on outside, and the newscaster saying something about, in local news, a woman caught in the rain was skeletonized in just under a minute, film at 11. So apparently it was about the woman getting like just disintegrated by the acid rain, which I think is a neat idea, but I like the pizza man part a lot better. We also have some stuff from Temporal Flux over at the Dimension of Continuity. And I said we were going to get into this here because you had mentioned how they ended up in the Chandler last episode. And then again, here we are in the, the hotel. The Chandler was an attempt to not have to recreate or not have to create new sets each week. It was decided by Peckinpah and Bill Dial. They had had a lot of previous experience on cop shows, and those, those cop shows, those procedurals, they always have like the station, where they do all their figuring out of, what happened, how are we going to find this guy? Can you look this up on that computer, and send this down to the lab? So they have these sets that just stay there. And it cuts down on the budget because you don't have to build new sets all the time. So the more episodes you can do in that set, the better off you are because you're not spending money. And that's what the Chandler was. The Chandler was an attempt to sort of like keep the budget, under control. The thing was, though, it was such a huge set. It ate up a lot of money in rent and keeping it maintained. So it wasn't exactly like they were saving a ton of money, I guess, because of that. So it was a good idea, but that's why we're going to see a lot of the Chandler in this season because that was their standing set.
Right. Try to get their money's worth out of it.
Exactly. It becomes very distinctive for the show. It's like, oh, there's the Chandler. We're in this room or we're in that room. So it was kind of similar, as they say, to the season 3 where they were in a lot of caves because they had a cave set that they had created. So why not?
Right. Yeah.
He also mentions, like I said, dimension of continuity. He says the Vancouver, when they were shooting in Vancouver, their sets were a lot different. They were easily dismantled and stored. Like Quinn's whole basement, it was just piecemeal. There were coils, the chalkboard, his desk and whatever not. They could take those apart very easily and store them very quickly. And you could, bring them out wherever you needed to and sort of turn any room into a basement. They could turn like a spare place on the set. They had all these pieces they could bring out and turn, a spare part of the set into a bar, a hotel, a store, a lab. So the sets were more, I don't know what the word, like maybe mobile or more like Lego, I guess, in the Vancouver sets, because you could just change part of the set and you had a whole new scene. So that was probably the better way to do it, because without storing all this, major stuff like the Chandler set, you didn't have the rental fees, the maintenance fees, and you could spend more money on guest stars and special effects.
Yeah, there you go. A little look into the behind the scenes there. I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of this. Like, if you haven't checked out Dimension of Continuity, there's a ton of stuff in there. Like, if you want to know why, why is this actor not there anymore? And I'm talking about like things like Quinn's father. Why did we have 2 or 3 different actors? Or his mother, or this person or that person? What happened to this? There's a lot of information on that site, so you definitely check it out.
All right. Well, do we have time for a quick impression?
You really like these.
I think we have time. Let's just do it. All right. Cue the music.
Sean Connery, the professor, Remy, and a 1940s mobster are walking down the street.
I don't have a problem with 2 men dancing together. Me neither, see? If the guy asked me...
I'm confused. Those were men. That's right. But they were dressed in women's clothing. Some guys just like to dress up like women. I mean, it's, they sort of, it's a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, it makes them feel pretty.
Well, they were pretty.
Keep sliding with us, see? I guarantee you'll see a lot stranger things.
What? Okay. Don't you ever get tired of it? I mean, one dangerous place after another. Don't you ever want to find a nice place and just stay?
All the time.
And
see. Just throwing in another impression that I've been working on all week.
There you go.
but I got us some light.
I saw the boy again. He opened the door.
Hey, Colin!
I'm right here. What's the matter with you? I'm right here.
Colin!
Hi.
You couldn't see me.
They can't.
I can hear you. I can touch you.
Sure. You're on my side now.
Your side. My. We dead?
I don't know. It's pretty boring, whatever it is. My name's Matthew.
I'm Colin.
I know. You're the first person who could see me, so I brought you on over. We can hang out now.
Hang out.
Sure. Play and stuff. The others are mean. I don't go in with them anymore.
The others?
Okay, so getting into our discussion of the alternate Ville horror. As you just heard in our quick impression, we open with a scene of the gang trying to explain homosexuality, transgender, transsexualism, I guess, to Colin. This was a funny little opener, you know, it's getting to that whole thing of Colin being from like a simpler world, and like later he talks about like how, you know, where he comes from they burn witches and stuff like that.
Right.
So you got this whole thing about how they thought he was the devil just because he was into like science and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing of them trying to explain like homosexuals and transsexuals to Colin, and him trying to like grasp that concept, I thought was actually a funny little opener, you know, just for his character, I guess.
Well, yeah, because he is so far behind what, you know, everyone else knows, and every world they have been to is so far advanced compared to what he knew. So it's good that they keep educating him. But I'm like, I don't know if I would have taken him to a, you know, transsexual show right off the bat. There's a lot of other things they could have educated him on, I think, before that.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, is it like Police Academy? I don't know if you remember those movies, but they had a running gag where somebody would end up in the Blue Oyster Bar, which was a gay bar, and like all these like leather-bound men would dance with them and stuff. Is it that sort of thing? Like they just ended up in this bar, and it turned out to be like a transgender, transvestite bar or something.
Well, I just have this image of like Quinn and Remy like saying, "Hey, you know what would be cool? What would be cool, cue ball? Let's play a prank on Colin and take him to the gay bar." It's like, really? That was just weird. I thought it was a weird thing to take. I don't know. Maybe they slid into the gay bar. Maybe that's what they did, or the transsexual bar.
Maybe.
Whatever it was. I just thought it was, well, I mean, it is cool that they're educating him on this, you know, and of course, you know, he's very accepting of it. It's like, hey, it's cool, you know, which is good. That's the proper attitude to have. But I just thought that's weird, you know, but whatever. We move on. That's not the main part of the show.
I know. It's just very progressive for 1998.
Right. Oh, it is, definitely.
To just be having a natural conversation about this. You know?
Exactly. Cool. Yeah, no, that's a good point. It is for that time, definitely.
But of course, the episode really gets roaring because everyone is afraid of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're there, right? And everybody's just like, get off the streets. Oh my God, everyone's freaking out. And they're just like, what, the rain's coming? Like,
right.
These people aren't cavemen. They're not like just afraid of the rain. There's going to be a reason. And all the sliders are just like, whatever, it's just rain.
You think by now they know.
It turns out to be, it turns out to be a bad thing that it's raining. Acid rain.
Burning acid rain. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, why they weren't paying attention to the warnings, I don't know. But whatever. They had to get caught out in the rain, I guess.
Yeah, after all this time sliding, if the locals start acting a certain way, you should probably go along. Just go along.
Yeah, but they end up in the Chandler, naturally.
Yes.
Keeping that budget down.
Yep.
And, this is, I think I mentioned at the end of the last episode, this is a bottle episode, you know? They've got the Chandler Hotel set, so let's do a whole episode set in the Chandler, you know? We've paid the money for this set, let's get the use out of it. So we'll have a Chandler Hotel-centric episode, so we can spend our budget a bit wiser on some of the other set pieces later.
And so in this dimension, the Chandler is a failing business where the guests, do not want to be there. They run out screaming because it's supposedly haunted.
I do kind of like the setup too, is that all these people, like, there's something so wrong here that these people would rather run out in acid rain than stick around.
Exactly. Although that one lady was like, she was really overacting. She was definitely an exposition extra. She didn't have much to say, but the way she was acting, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Like I said, this one is like really just tongue in cheek the whole time. Like, it's fun. Like, all the people run out. Mm-hmm. And they're sort of like weirded out by like why all these people ran out into acid rain. Yeah. And then just as they bring it up with the owner, Holly, another woman like runs out shrieking. Like one more woman. He's like, what? This is so weird. Yeah. And she just keeps dodging their questions the whole time. Mm. And I love that Remy says she needs to like lay off the caffeine or something like that. Like she is unnaturally chirpy.
Maybe she slid there from the last world. She had her infuser on or something.
Yeah, but it's cool. They get into old history again. Yep. Holly talks about how there was an offshore refinery that polluted the air back in '93. At some point, Santa Monica Bay caught on fire. Right. So, yeah, it's cool. Just dropping this old history stuff. It's great to sort of be back on form for Sliders with
They're definitely trying.
Yeah, and she's showing them the features of the hotel as well. Because before this, like, you could have just thought that the Chandler was like some sort of chain hotel or something like that. Like, right. Being a personal nature of it was kind of gone because of it being a big franchise. But here, it's just like a small business. It's a failing business. But, right. Since she's the only one there, you kind of get this like hotel experience in a way. Mm-hmm. And she's showing them around, showing them like, we've got these rain suits, the acid-proof rain suits, and an assortment of burn creams with the Chandler logo on it and stuff like that. I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, it was well done. Attention to detail.
And since it's acid rain outside, we're all just going to stay in. And the guys head down to the bar, but Colin stays behind. And I've noticed that Remy, not unlike he did with Quinn, calling him Cue Ball all the time, right, has a new nickname for Colin. Yeah, it's Farm Boy. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a great touch. I wonder, it makes me think if that was something that was written or something that Cleveland and Derricks came up with. Or it's just like, this whole time I've had this nickname for Quinn, so why shouldn't I give a nickname to Colin?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, no, it fits.
I don't think he ever calls Maggie anything.
No, it's a guy thing,
Or doesn't like her enough to give her a nickname. And they continue on with this, like, explaining stuff to Colin as well. Right. Because Remy's just like, do you want to come and chill down in the bar? And he's like, Colin doesn't understand the word chill, so Remy has to explain it to him. I've written here as like a description, chill, noun, to hang out or be mellow. And Remy also recommends the Spice Channel. So.
Right. See, now that is what, like, that goes with what I was saying about the opening, when they go to, like, if they went to a, homosexual, transgender bar, whatever it was, it's like Remy knows what the Spice Channel is. He knows Colin has never seen anything like this in his life. And he's like, yeah, go check out the Spice Channel, man. It's kind of like they're trying to put him into these situations that are so foreign to him. It blow his mind, So I'm like, the Sliders have always had a history of kind of making fun of each other. So I think it's continuing here, because when a professor would fall into garbage or something like that, they would sort of laugh, and they're kind of doing that here with Colin, like, hey, why don't you check out the Spice Channel? Ooh, all about spices? No, it's not about spices,
It was a good gag. Yes. Getting that audio from what was playing on there, the Pizza Man.
It was.
But I think it's even funnier that he's just not even into it. And he just changes the channel to watch Frankenstein.
Right, yes.
But yeah, so the other three go downstairs to the bar and leave Colin upstairs. And we get a great little scene between Quinn and the other guys, and he's sort of reflecting on having dragged Colin into this, And it's like you said, like they're sort of having some fun with him, gay bars and Spice Channel and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think this is a great moment for Quinn to sort of just think about, like, did I do the right thing, dragging him away from his world and dragging him into this mess? I mean, I know that he kind of needs Colin to find his home coordinates and stuff, but at the same time, you can see where he's coming from. He's actually kind of worried about his brother and the effect that this is having on him. You know, it's going to be mind-blowing for Colin. And that leads him to also say to them, to Maggie and Remy, you know, if you guys, you know, you can just stay. If there's a world you want to stay in, just stay. I don't want to, you know, force you into this. So it was, very nice scene on both parts with Colin and with Maggie and Remy to sort of be like, you know what, you don't have to do this. You know, you're not under any obligation. And they're like, no, we're with you. Yeah, and it was cool how they sort of got that idea back into the episode. Right. Through Colin, because, you know, in that opening scene, he kind of does go on to talk about, you know, don't you ever feel like you could just, like, find a good place, settle down, stay? And I guess that's probably where Quinn's coming from, you know. This is just that one little comment from Colin has sort of started playing on his mind a bit. So he feels like he says, like, yeah, you know, maybe we do find a world, we do settle down or something like that. Try to get away from this obligation of what we're doing here. Right. I think it's also good for Remy as well because, you know, in all the other seasons, it came up time and again. He was dragged into it. He didn't want to do this and stuff like that. To where now he is like, no, I'm with you, man. You know, we're doing this together. We're on a mission and we're going to save Earth Prime. And it's cool. This is why I've always said, and now that we're seeing these episodes, it sort of reinforces, actually it makes it clearer for me why I always believe this. I always said, and you can go back and listen to the other episodes, I've always said, we don't need a recurring villain, really. I mean, something that happens like how the Cro-Mags are showing up every, you know, so much, and how we had Rickman last season. We don't really need that overarching villain because the villains are always basically the world. You know, that's the enemy, you know, the world, trying to figure out how to survive in this world for this week. When you have things like Rickman and you have things like now the Cro-Mags, it kind of makes the episodes where they're having fun seem like so trivial because they have this very life-threatening thing going on, you know, overarching over the series. So it's like, yeah, you're having fun now, but don't forget, you're in a fight for your homeworld. You know, maybe you should, you know, be focused on that a little bit more. Trying to, you know what I mean? It's like you forget the seriousness because you're going to have a comedy episode. But then when you think about it, you know, it's actually a very serious overarching storyline. Yeah, and well, it's been a few episodes now as well since we've seen the Cro-Mags. Like we haven't seen them since Common Ground. Right. That's you know, that's kind of like my point. It's like, well, having this overarching storyline sort of casts a shadow over the series. It's like these are the really bad guys, you know, but we're going to forget about them and have some fun for these next couple episodes. And then, then we'll get serious again. Oh, then we're going to have some fun again. Oh, and then we got to find that ultimate weapon. Oh, then we're going to, you know. It's like, that's why I think it's better to not have these overarching storylines of the villain, or finish those things maybe in a smaller period of time or something, you know, so it doesn't feel like it's like we're just forgetting about things, you know, because like Wade's been missing, you know, like in the first, you know, episode, you know, they find out what happened to her, and then it was like the second episode they were having a good time again and enjoying themselves. I don't know, it's just a bit off, you know, like I'm thinking we don't really need the overarching thing because the world is what you know, appealed to us, and they're trying to give us alt history again, everything. But I'm just saying, now I'm starting to see a little bit more why I don't like the overarching villains to appear. Exactly, it's up and down, and of course we're going to get back to Cro-Mags next week, right, in our discussion. So yeah, it is. But you know, continuing this episode, Colin sees a ghost. Yes, a little boy ghost, while watching Frankenstein, and they get into this sort of shining thing as we go ahead, because the little boy goes into a room, which is room 315, and as I said last episode, I'm a big horror fan, so naturally I've seen The Shining a bunch of times. In The Shining, it was room 237, not 315, but again, they're sort of just changing it slightly, but you can feel those themes coming through. I thought this was cool because, like, he goes downstairs to tell the gang about it, and they're drinking blue beer, which can or cannot come with oysters, as you like it. I like it. I'm not saying I like blue beer. I just like the touch that the beer is blue. You know, it's different. And Colin downs one of them as well, which I thought was really funny. And yeah, they don't believe him. They just thought, oh, you fell asleep watching TV. You're not used to TV yet, you silly, naive fool.
And he gets mad.
He's offended by it.
Yeah.
You know, this is where he drops that whole thing about, you know, in my world, sure, we may like burn the odd witch or something like that, but I know what I saw. You know, he thinks they're playing him as a fool. He's backwards. Right. He's a bumpkin. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, it was a good moment for his character.
Yeah, a natural reaction for him.
Now, we find out that Colin can see the boy because he has a similar quantum signature to the boy. And so then if he can see, like they reveal this later, why can't Quinn see him too? Because his quantum signature should be the same, considering that him and Colin are brothers from originally the same world. Yeah. You know, and then how come Maggie was able to see the face in the ice chest? Because her quantum signature would be different. I don't know.
This ghost thing, the way they explain it really doesn't work when you go back over the episode.
Right.
Because, like, later they're talking about, like, oh, we've been trying to communicate with people, but it's been misconstrued as a ghost and stuff like that. And you're just like, well, yeah, if you didn't, like, hang out in ice chests and make yourself look like a disembodied head,
right?
Maybe people wouldn't think you're a ghost.
Yeah, and if you could, like, actually, like, pick up objects and stuff, how about you pick up the Sharpie marker over there and write a message? How about you write a message, you know? Actually try to communicate instead of making things float and move around.
Exactly. I mean, they kind of do that, you know, once Remy and Maggie have their encounters, because Remy also gets the help us message or whatever it was, help me, help.
Yes.
Help, pretty much, written on the thing, you know? So it's like, yeah, they can write messages.
The other thing is, within that other dimension, they missed a good chance here to call back to the Jillian of the Spirits episode.
I was thinking the same thing. That's pretty much what this is, right?
Yeah.
They haven't slid to another dimension. It's the quantum plane or something like that.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's the Jillian of the Spirits thing.
Now, the thing that I did like about it, though, is that in this world, it's Professor Rembrandt Brown who creates sliding, which is possible. It really is possible, but however unlikely, it's possible. You know?
Yeah, it's very unlikely that 3 of the 4 of them had alternates trapped in this
right
thing. Yeah, and the whole thing. Yeah, Remy is the professor and Quinn is the singer. And you know, as much as we praise Jerry O'Connell for his alternate in the World Killer episode, this is just shocking. I mean, even the hippie in the last episode was better than this.
Yeah, it's not good stuff. It's not good stuff at all.
Oh my God, he's trying to do a British accent too, and you're just like, all right. So in this world, he also moved to Britain at some point and got an accent and became a singer. Then like came back,
flicking his tongue out and everything. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, always moving too, like from the get-go. As soon as they appear, he's sort of like swaying side to side.
It's like he's high, you know. He's like,
we've got your timer, and then he starts like singing into it and stuff, and you're like, oh, what is this? This is just terrible. God,
we've had much better alternates of Quinn in the past.
Yeah. And all this is brought to us by who begins as a creepy man in black.
Right, which is
who checks in the hotel. Turns out to just be some lanky guy called John Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Why they had him come in so mysteriously at the beginning, looking like that, I don't know. Like,
I think it's just to try to play up the whole haunted creepiness of the hotel.
Yeah, I just think once we knew who he was, I was just like, I don't buy for a second that guy will walk around wearing like that mysterious black outfit. Like,
exactly.
Why?
Like when he showed up, I immediately thought of the Shadow, that old superhero.
Right. Yeah.
The way he had over his mouth and everything. Yeah.
But, you know, I thought the effects were pretty good. You know, when Colin gets led into the room by who we find out is Matthew, the boy. You know, he becomes a ghost, quote unquote, as well. And there's all the stuff about, you know, Remy can't see him and he's passing his hands through Remy and stuff like that. Like, that was done a lot better than we had seen previously.
Yeah.
Even in episodes like Julian of the Spirits, where sometimes it was a bit dodgy. So I think they did a good job with all that stuff. And yeah, and then, of course, the character of John Smith, even though I had trouble getting around his entrance into the show, I thought he was all right. You know, he had all that equipment, all that stuff. He was a ghost hunter, which I kind of figured out pretty quickly, too.
Yeah.
Like, when he's going around scanning stuff, I'm like, that's a ghost hunter, right?
Yeah,
and then they hold on to that for like 20 minutes, and you're like,
well, it reminded me of the Ghostbusters when they're scanning like food left behind with the slime and everything. It's the same thing. He's scanning this, scanning that. So yeah, it was a decent character.
The owner of the hotel finally admits that the place is haunted, and she takes them to see this vortex, which is permanently open. And it's about this point too where Quinn actually refers to her by name. It's that thing that we keep going back to, is they just don't tell you people's names until like right at the end of the episode. You're just like, oh, her name's Holly. Oh, thanks, Quinn. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole time you're writing notes, you're just like, the odor of the hotel.
Yep, that's what I had, yeah.
You know, the whole thing's worked out. I kind of liked that there was a vortex open to go to the other plane or something, like it was permanently open. That's something that was kind of added that sort of differentiated it from the Jillian of the Spirits episode, where that was kind of like Quinn was thrown there because the vortex was struck by lightning. So this one has a vortex, but the vortex doesn't close.
So anybody could go there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's an interesting idea because I never really thought about it before, but you know, you can go through the vortex. Like, you open the vortex, you go through, you end up on the other world. But what happens if on the other side, when the vortex opens, can someone on that side jump in and go to where the sliders have come from? You know, does it work backwards and forwards like that?
Right.
And I think that could kind of be answered here, because it seems like these people have gone through the vortex and been trapped on the other side, but
they can't come back.
Even though it's permanently open, they can't use the vortex on their side to come back.
Exactly.
And of course, you know, Quinn the Wiz figures it all out, and
they use John Smith's equipment and destroy it and get the quantum signatures and send everyone back to where they came from.
Yeah, and they tie it into Frankenstein too, because they had that whole Frankenstein thing at the beginning. All right, let's use lightning, and we'll get all of John's equipment to work, and everyone will be saved. But I think at the end of the day, you know, the alternates were super bad. Even the alt Remy and the alt Maggie, I was just like, But as an episode, I kind of enjoyed it. As
I enjoyed this one.
Tongue-in-cheek, silly episode, I thought it was fine.
I enjoyed this one much more than I enjoyed Just Say Yes to the Dress. So, yeah.
You're not really here. The equipment's just making them visible to us.
That is quite correct. You seem a bit more sagacious than our own Mr. Mallory.
Shut off, you brainy twit.
Allow me to introduce my traveling companions. This is Quinn Howling Man Mallory, a singer of some sort, I'm told.
Get us the hell out of here!
And this is Miss Maggie Beckett, exotic dancer.
Hi.
Are you responsible for opening the vortex upstairs? Yes, I was working on an anti-gravity machine when something went a bit awry. The resulting quantum disturbance sucked us into this ephemeral state.
This is fantastic.
You've been here this whole time? I knew about the disturbances, but I never... Your people.
We've been trying to find someone to help us for like 2 years. You're a stripper? No, love. Exotic dancer.
Unfortunately, our attempts to communicate were widely misconstrued as some kind of horror show.
Yeah, real horror show. How'd you like to sell it, baby? You make any friends?
Anyway, Colin here was the only person that could actually see us.
Colin, you and Matthew must have nearly the same quantum signature. That's why only you could see him.
My thoughts precisely.
I'm sorry I didn't believe you, bro. Never close your minds to the possibilities, brother.
All right, well, let's get into some messages in town.
All right, so for the Alternateville horror, people were saying that they liked the actors' faces when Colin said, "Have you guys ever lost a timer before?" They said it was priceless because they lose the timer all the time, Colin. You have no idea. So, yeah, people were just like, really, just put the timer in your pocket, stop leaving it around. They said it was a good ensemble cast this episode. Everyone had stuff to do. They had their time to shine. And we really liked the Sliders reacting to each other and not reacting to the babe or the guest star of the week. They really liked that. Yeah. There was also... They said the homage to horror films, like you said, The Shining, the framing of that shot. Then the other things like the gang splits up, which you're not supposed to do, and then there's a clap of thunder right after someone says, "This hotel is haunted." Dun, dun, dun. It was, they liked it. And that was good. They liked, as we said earlier, about Quinn saying, "Hey, we could stay here," But the fact that the group has become closer, it's gotten more family-like. They want to stick together. They said losing Wade kind of brought them closer together. It's beyond the focus of let's just get home. Now they're sort of like together in this, no matter what. So, yeah. Cool. So there's a guy. His screen name is Vader, but his real name is Vader 47,000 is his handle, and his real name is John Latcham, and he does a lot of reviews of Sliders from back in the day. So in this one, he said they were explaining the supernatural with science, which was good. That's a good thing. That's what Arturo would have done. But it was kind of predictable. It was a predictable story. He said some things don't really add up because those alternates were trapped in the nether region for 2 years. How do they eat there? How do they survive for 2 years? They can touch and move stuff to communicate, but it looks like haunting. Yeah, I don't buy it. Why does Alt Maggie hide in the icebox? Why was she doing that? Just to freak people out? It doesn't make any sense. He said the technobabble was just nonsense, just, typical technobabble. But he did like the way, Colin continues his education. And he liked the polluted world, the acid rain. He liked the strange opposites. So that's Vader's review there. They liked that it was a blend of comedy and adventure. Someone who posted really liked Alt Quinn, even though we did not. They said that perhaps Alt Maggie was a comment on what Kari was used for last season. Because so yeah, could be. And then they said they're not looking forward to the Cro-Mags coming up in the next, in the next one. Someone made a comment about expecting Marty McFly to go flying by as the lightning bolt hit. They said the group has a better dynamic now. The group of 4 just works much better than the 3. More to play off of, that type of thing. Someone said, the Air Force would never leave a vortex like that. They would be there forever. It's like they would be studying it. Yeah.
And I did think that was kind of weird, but she's just like, they got bored with it, so they just said call them if anything else happens. It's like, as if they would just
no way. Then this guy did say, and like I said in the Colin's first episode, that Colin is moving beyond the Colin/Data hybrid that we've been seeing. So that's good. He's not, staying static as he was with not using contractions and being so stiff and everything. So it's good. Then there was a whole conversation about the quantum signature, Colin's quantum signature, and how come Quinn, his signature was different. And they reasoned that maybe it's because since they're living and eating on, like Quinn has been, living and eating on so many different dimensions, his signature may have changed because he's become a part of so many different worlds, just from taking in, food and stuff and whatnot. His body has adapted and his signature has changed. So that's why he couldn't see the boy, the ghost. Whereas Colin, who just started, still has his signature from Amish world, is what they were saying. So it kind of makes sense.
Well, not that different to Maggie as well, not being able to breathe on Earth Prime, but then sort of being able to develop the ability to.
Right. Yeah, so they attempted to explain it, and it makes sense. So then we got messages in time for just say yes to the dress. A lot of people were referring to Drug Damon as the Terminator as well. So a ton of that. And I guess it's been a while since I had seen the Terminator, so I had forgotten about that reference. But yeah, a lot of people. They said either Kari was told to look and act fake, or she actually just can't act happy, because Colin and Maggie just seem so false. It was embarrassing, they said at points. which I agree, which I think was the intention. Vader, again, John Latcham, says that he really hated the music. He didn't like the goofiness of the music, the acting, you know. They just don't pull it off. They don't pull off being drugged, is what he said. You know, they're just saying things like, cool, man, you know, and they burn the cookies. It's like not like, it wasn't as real as he had hoped, I guess. He liked the cab driver, you know. He liked the whole comment Colin made about soda and broccoli looking good. He said it's a bunch of he says a bunch of good ideas that just need a better episode than that to really fly. And then other people, they like the acting and the music. Like I said, I thought the music fit well. But it gave a lot of people hope for Sliders. It looks like they're having fun again, just like the first season. And that's why I said, yeah, they're having fun, but they've got this thing looming over their heads. You know, it's like, so that's, anyway. So there you go. Messages in time.
And we're having fun at
Exactly.
the moment.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing. All right. So getting into some messages from Earth Prime, we got another email from Nikki.
Yeah.
And she wrote, as you requested, I gave you a 5-star rating on iTunes. Thank you.
Appreciate that. We're going to check that out.
Love it. And she also, this is actually a bit shorter. She's sent us some quite long emails, but she's kept this quite succinct this week. She writes, am I the only person who wonders why Danielle wasn't in line to be made queen in Prince of Slides? She makes an interesting point. I'm not sure if we brought up hierarchy.
I don't think we did.
She writes, presumably an American monarchy would follow the British model of male preference primogeniture. This means that after the king and his sons, Danielle is next, and she also queries, is she the king's daughter? Which I think she was, yeah.
Right.
Instead, the show follows Salic law and skips her completely, favoring her son. Even if she is skipped, why isn't she the regent? No, old Rembrandt is to get the job, even though he is a commoner. And once they find out about George, he gets the job. So a legitimately born female has no place in the monarchy of America. So I think she makes an interesting point there.
Oh yeah,
that
definitely.
they just skip over her, which is I don't know really why they would skip over her. I mean, England's had a queen for 80 some odd years. It wasn't just the whole thing about how Queen Elizabeth's just become the longest reigning monarch in British history.
Wow, yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, it is. I guess kind of. I didn't really think about her being skipped.
They
over
missed
so
they missed a chance to be even progressive. You know, again, because they've been progressive on several things, and yeah, that would have been cool. I have this article that I found, like I said, when I found my Sliders comics, and it's it's called "The Cosmic Slide" by Simon Bacall, and I was wondering, like, okay, well, let's see if I can find anything about where this is from, like where this article came from. Turns out earthprime.com has the text from this article on their website. So over at earthprime.com, you could find this article that I'm talking about. Now, they only have the text, okay? And this is written before Sliders debuted, I believe. It's June 95. And it was from a magazine called Sci-Fi Entertainment. And so they were talking about this. It was just a 2-page article about Sliders. And I mean, there's not much in it that's, super interesting. This was basically like, hey, a new show's coming out called Sliders, But the thing that I found interesting then, and that I still find interesting now, they don't have the picture of the article up. And I'm going to take a picture of it later, and I'm going to put it up on the Facebook page. So get over to our Facebook page and like it, and you'll see this picture. They have a picture of Quinn and the professor, so Jerry O'Connell and John Rhys-Davies. And then they have this other picture, and it's of a guy in a vest and a African-American gentleman. They're sitting next to each other. There's a TV in between them. On the screen is a young little boy, like a 8, 9, 10-year-old, and next to him on the screen is a African-American boy, about the same age. All right, now the caption says above, typical teen anti-gravity researcher Quinn Mallory and his rock star buddy Rembrandt. And these people in this picture are not Jerry O'Connell and Clevant Derricks. They are two different people, and it's so weird because then on the next page they do have Jerry O'Connell and John Rhys-Davies, and this person is obviously not Jerry O'Connell. So I don't know what happened. Someone picked the wrong picture because this looks like it was like two actors that maybe acted as kids on a sitcom on the TV there, and then this is them reuniting, I guess. I don't know. It's very strange. I always wondered, what the heck? That's not Jerry O'Connell, So I will take a photograph of this and put it up on the Facebook page so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. It's very amusing. Very amusing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. And then finally, Wade Wells is still alive. And I know you guys did not know this. I'm breaking the silence now. Over on the Sliders.tv forum, there's a thread called Wade Explains It All. And Wade is there answering questions that Cory and I have brought up over the course of the podcast. So when we would say things, you know what, why would the police do this? Or why would Wade do that? And how come Quinn did this? We would bring up those questions. Well, Wade is answering those questions for us. So if you go onto the Sliders.tv forum, find that thread that says Wade Explains It All, and we have her answering questions that we've brought up over the course of our podcast. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun because it's actually written by one of the members called Intangible. And we've mentioned her before, and apparently Intangible is a reference to Intanger from a Final Fantasy game. I think Final Fantasy VI is what she said. So she's role-playing. She's been role-playing as Wade lately. I'm not sure where she's been role-playing as Wade lately. That sounds pretty cool. But she's been role-playing as Wade lately and decided, why not answer the questions that we brought up as Wade? So it's pretty neat. Pretty cool. There's she's going back, and there's one for the Dream Masters, where we talk about why don't the police just take those guys down? It's just, there's the Dream Masters right here. And, Wade explains as Wade exactly why this didn't happen, or post-traumatic slide syndrome. Why wouldn't you go to your parents as soon as you thought you were home instead of just calling them on the phone? And Wade answers, she's like, the whole thing just seems so, overwhelming, seeing their faces, trying to explain it all. It's selfish and cowardly, I know, but I just didn't think I could take it. So I called them. I just called them is what I felt I could do at that time. So it's really kind of fun to read these as her character. So definitely, check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I just want to know one thing. Is she sassy?
She does get a little sassy.
I'm not going to bother.
She does get a little sassy here and there. Yes. So. It is. It's very fun. It's very fun. So thanks to Intangible for doing that.
All right. Well, next week we will be discussing 2 more episodes. Those episodes are Slide Cage and Asylum.
Cool. I don't remember.
Getting back to the Coromax. I'm not sure what Asylum is, but I remember Slide Cage pretty well.
I don't know. I might remember a little bit about it. I can't. I got nothing. That's all right, because I do have this. It's time for the end of the Rewatch podcast. That's it for this episode. Keep up with listener interaction by liking our Facebook page at facebook.com/rewatchpodcast and follow the show on Twitter at rewatchpod. And don't forget, you can visit our webpage at rewatchpodcast.podomatic.com, which has some of our favorite links there, such as Dimension of Continuity, earthprime.com, and, of course, the active forum, with especially those 2 threads, over at sliders.tv.
And remember, you can always write us an email or record a voice message and send it to therewatchpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, if you've enjoyed the show, please consider giving us a rate and review on iTunes.
Just like Nikki did. Yeah.
Nikki did, yes. It really helps out the show, helps build up the listenership and listener interactions that we love. So thank you in advance for doing that. Okay, well, thank you for joining me again this week, Tom.
Yep.
And I will just say, until next time, get us the hell out of here.
We gotta slide.
The Rewatch podcast is not associated with NBC Universal, St. Clair Entertainment, Fox, or Sci-Fi Channel. The use of any and all copyrighted material is only for parody, news analysis, critique, or educational purposes, as provided in United States Code Title 17, aka Fair Use. Music provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Copyright 2015, The Rewatch Podcast.